welcome back to my channel. On my last video, I showed you a compilation of all the battles during the Beyblade X Start event in Japan. I'm sure a lot of you enjoyed the high-speed intense battles, and if you haven't watched it yet, I will have it on the end screen and in the description below. Make sure to check it out. In this video, I will break down each parts of the Beyblade, how the new burst system works, as well as the new gear system. The Beyblade X combo is composed of 3 parts: the blade, the ratchet, and the beat. Let us start with the beat because both burst system and the gear system relies on this part. It is the most critical part of the combo because it also determines the movement of Bey based on the shape of the tip. On release day, Beyblade X will have 4 different beats: flat for attack, needle for defense, ball for stamina, and taper for balance type. Each beat has their own usual ratings for attack, defense, and stamina. But you will notice that there is a 4th rating for dash, while the 5th rating stands for burst resistance. The dash corresponds to the speed when the gear part of the beat touches the gear cogs of the stadium ridge. It is the main feature of Beyblade X that is unique from the previous generations. They call this gear system as the Extreme Dash gimmick. The initial 4 beats have 12 gear cogs, but expect in the future that it will vary in size, so the number of cogs will also be different. The smaller the gear diameter, the lesser the cogs, and the more faster it goes when it touches the ridge. On the other hand, the bigger the gear diameter, the more cogs in it, so it will be slower when it touches the ridge, but more controlled, unlike smaller beat gears that can go wild. You may be wondering why there is a burst resistance rating in the beat. The answer lies on the shaft part of the beat. Each beat will have different shaft shape and thickness that will affect its burst resistance. Some beats are loose, while some will be tight. Stamina and defense type beats were designed to have less burst resistance compared to attack and balance type beats, which has more burst resistance. Take note that it is considered as a burst finish when the beat comes off. Now let's talk about the ratchet. We also have 4 of them on release: 3-60, 4-60, 3-80, and 4-80. The way they name it represents something. The first digit refers to the number of blade points, while the second digit refers to the height. For example, 3-60 means that the ratchet have 3 blade points, and the height of the Beyblade will be at 60. If you notice on the ratings, there are 5 blocks, which means there will be 5 heights. We already have 60 and 80, so by inspection, the other 3 are 50, 70, and 90. These heights will also affect the center of gravity of your Beyblade. Lastly, the blade. We also have 4 different blades upon release, and each of them represents attack, defense, stamina, and balance. The blades are inspired by the 2nd generation of Metal Fight Beyblades, which also had metal contacts. The blades will vary in shape and weight, which will reflect what type of blades they are. As usual, each blades will also have their own ratings of attack, defense, and stamina. For now, there are only right spin blades, but expect left spin to be introduced in the future releases, as well as a possibility of a dual spin blade, just like in the burst generation. We also need to talk about the new launcher. It now has 3 prongs compared to the 2 in the previous generations. Because of that, it greatly improved the grip on the base and prevents them from falling off that usually causes mislaunch before the battle. We have 2 types of launchers, the winder launcher and the string launcher. The downside of having 3 prongs is that it only points in one direction. So we will see later on how Takara Tomy will innovate for LR launchers. This new generation of Beyblades will not have its full potential without a specialized stadium. This is the first time that the stadium will have gear cogs on its ridges that triggers the Extreme Dash gimmick. So make sure you play Beyblade X on its own stadium. The stadium also features 2 pockets that serves as straps for the Beyblades. It will be 2 points whenever a Bey gets caught on it, and it will be called over finish. Aside from the 2 pockets, there is one big ring out area that is worth 3 points whenever a Bey gets knocked out on it. This time it is called an extreme finish because usually it takes an extreme dash move in order to knock your opponent there. Spin finish gives you 1 point, while burst finish still counts as 2 points, the same as during the burst generation. Instead of first to 3 points, it will now be raised to 4 points. Now that you know the anatomy of Beyblade X, it will now be up to you to create powerful combos that suits your playstyle. We will have more parts later on as new products gets released. If you want to see these Beyblades in action, I suggest you to watch my previous video, which is a compilation of all the battles during launch day of Beyblade X. Just tap on the end screen, but make sure to hit the subscribe first and like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.